Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to showcase BIBAREL in the Go Battle League. This Pokemon has been useless in the Great League for I don't even know how many years. This pick has not even crossed my mind as a Pokemon I would consider taking to a regional or using seriously in any way. But somehow, this season, adding Rollout is all it took to make it go from that useless Pokemon to one of the best core breakers we could possibly see in the Open Great League. It's kind of crazy with the pacing it has to Surf and Hyper Fang. It just synergizes so well, and honestly, it is kind of scary how good it is. I stream my battles basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN. So if you want to see these kind of battles live, please make sure to check me out there. I stream starting 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. I'd love to see you there. So let's get into the battles and see what BIBAREL can do. All right, getting right on into game number one here. BIBAREL in the lead up against a Serperior. That's probably one of the worst matchups that we could see, but we have a Primeape Say Swap that can paste a Rage Fist before they can throw a move. So we're going to throw that. We do have Ice Punch on this Primeape, which is kind of interesting. We can't throw it here, at least just yet, because I want to make sure that I can throw my move before they swap out. At least strip this thing down into a range where a Hyper Fang from BIBAREL could take them out later on. We have to shield up this move. I know Aerial Ace would basically one-shot us, or Shadow Primeape, and they come in with a Gastron. This is not really great for me right now. I don't actually have close combat, but I'm hoping that they're going to shield this, so at the very least we can get something back with our Primeape. We do get the shield with that Rage Fist, and they throw a Body Slam before we can get another charge move. I'm just going to have to let this go at this point, come in Jumpluff, and hope the final Pokemon in the backline is not going to hard counter our BIBAREL, or maybe just hope that our Jumpluff is going to be very strong into this team. We've already seen a Serperior and a Gastrodon though, so my hopes are not high that there's going to be a pick in the backline that we're going to have a lot of play against, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. They go for a Body Slam. Obviously, don't have too much charge move pressure against us. I'm going to go for an Energy Ball, try to get an undercharge against them if I possibly can. I don't want to knock them out, so I can get that Fairy Wind down. That's still enough, though, to one-shot Gastrodon. They are obviously very weak to the grass typing. And then we see a Morpeko as their final Pokemon. I want to draw a shield if possible right now. If I can get the shield, I think BIBAREL might be able to close out this game. We end up getting the shield right there, and now I can see my win condition. I've tripped down that Serperior. I know as long as we can take out this Morpeko and keep our Jumpluff alive, maybe we can land an Aerial Ace against that thing in the backline and still be in a good position. I'm going to throw my charge move. Energy Ball should knock them out, or at least put them very low. If this ends up not knocking out, I catch the move on BIBAREL. But if it does knock out, we can just stay in Jumpluff, get the Aerial Ace, and take them out there. They are very weak to Jumpluff that game. BIBAREL, honestly, not even getting the light of day in that battle. Well, this is terrible. Annihilape against our BIBAREL. We're going to swap to our Shadow Primeape and try to go for these Rage Fists. Maybe get a shield advantage here if possible. We want to make it so that we can get our BIBAREL away from this at any cost. Annihilape is probably one of the worst leads we would see. We just saw a Serperior in that last game. Obviously, electric type damage, fighting type damage, and grass type damage are all of the things you have to worry about as a BIBAREL user, which is why I decided that Jumpluff today would be a good idea to pair with it, and it honestly was a pretty good duo today, which makes sense, right? Dunsparce is another rollout user that pairs well with Jumpluff, so it just kind of fits right in. All right, they do go for the full counter down. They shield once, counter us, or actually they shield twice. I shield once, and now we are going to come in with our Jumpluff against this boosted Annihilape here. We're going to try to knock them out, but our opponent makes a nasty catch on a Diggersby. Okay, well, that's not amazing. I would have rather gone for the Energy Ball here, and they have a lot of energy left over on that the Annihilape here, which is even scarier. I'm going to go for this Energy Ball, hopefully knock them out. If I can get the knockout in 2 more charge moves, we're going to be in a good spot, but this Diggersby is still kind of healthy. I don't know if I can go for the Aerial Ace. I did get the defense drop, but these Fire Punches got buffed this season. They're doing a little bit more damage than they would otherwise. That next Fire Punch, if it ends up landing, would do so much damage, so rather than letting them do that, I'm going to come in BIBAREL here and try to catch the Fire Punch, which we do. They come back and Annihilape. I'm actually in a very bad spot, though, right? Because they have so much energy. They could reach 2 close combats here before I'd be able to get a move. I have to hope that they bait, but they full send the move. Now I just have to hope that their final Pokemon is not going to be a hard answer to our Jumpluff. If they have something in the backline that's weak to us, which honestly would be kind of crazy saying they're already double weak to it, then we could win the game. That is a Dunsparce. We are not winning that one. GG's to our opponent. Alright, BIBAREL in the lead up against a Shadow Drapion this time. Very neutral matchup, but we have to keep in mind that this Pokemon is a very squishy Pokemon. I mean, I guess I should say it's that squishy. It's not the bulkiest Pokemon out here at the very least. You can see these Poison Stings have already added up. Crunch is going to put us down almost into the red. Oh, already into the red, actually. And so our Surf, it might get a shield from them, but if they want, they can 2-shield and probably Poison Sting us all the way down. This is no Dunsparce, right? Dunsparce is a kind of bulky rollout user. BIBAREL is a little bit squishier. We're going to have to shield up a move here, try to get another Surf off to draw both shields. I don't want our Jumpluff to deal with this Drapion if we can help it. Surf is going to come through once again. We are kind of squishy, but we spam out these charge moves pretty quickly. Surf did get nerfed in that previous season, but they also made it so it did a bit more damage, and it honestly pairs very well with rollout, so it's not the worst move to have. I do have to respect an Aqua Tail here. I'm going to shield it up, and we're going to see a Wigglytuff come in to respond to our Shadow Primeape. That is probably one of the hardest answers we could see. If I had close combat, this probably would one-shot them right now, but I don't have it. But can I get another Ice Punch off? We do at the last second. This might actually knock them out here, which could be good, but it could also be a little bit bad. If this knocks them out, that means that their Drapion can come back in, get a lot of Poison Stings against us, and now we're probably going to take a crunch on our Jumpluff if we have to farm down with it. I know I can't come in with BIBAREL. Our best chance would be getting a catch here on a crunch, but no, we don't get it. They're going to throw the crunch right now, and we are going to try to fairy win this down. If we can have play against the backline, though, we have a lot of energy with our Jumpluff. Looks like they were not prepared for the Jumpluff in the back. GG's to our opponent. Next matchup here, up against the Shadow Drifblim, probably one of the best leads possible for our BIBAREL. We resist every single move that they're going to throw, even if they had Mystical Fire, Icy Wind, Shadow Ball, Ominous Wind, Astonish. Every single move Drifblim has does nothing to BIBAREL, so I'm going to be very happy to stay in the lead, do super effective damage with rollouts, and tank the damage that they're going to throw against us. I could have maybe overfarmed a little bit more, maybe not thrown that Surf as soon as possible, but our backline is so weak to Drifblim that I'd rather just get this thing out of the way. They do end up letting it go down, and we see them come in with a Wigglytuff. We are kind of squishy, but we're also a pretty spammy Pokemon, right? I'm going to go for this Surf. I might get to a second charge move here before getting charmed down, and if I can, that's going to chip them into a range where maybe an Energy Ball from our Jumpluff could knock out this Wigglytuff. We are debuffed here, though, so we have to keep that in mind. We're not going to be able to quite get them into half health range, but we can come in Jumpluff, try our best to knock out this Wigglytuff despite getting debuffed by another Icy Wind. As long as we can knock this thing out in a reasonable manner, we should be in a good spot with our Shadow Primeape in the backline. Energy Ball is going to come through. Are they going to shield up their Wigglytuff, or do they just let it go down? I think they do survive. Yeah, just barely. So we're going to go and get the Karate Chop down with our Shadow Primeape. What is their final Pokemon? Of course, you wouldn't see a Wigglytuff without a Mud Slapper. We have Ice Punch for this. It is super effective damage, but I don't think it's going to one-shot. But it isn't going to lower our defense stat either, so it's going to be a little bit harder for them to farm us down right now. We can get to the Rage Fist, get their shield, and now our Jumpluff can easily sponge all of the damage that this Marowak's going to throw. I know they could have Rock Slide, but we have a shield. We are not in one Rock Slide range, so no matter what happens this game, we can just come in Jumpluff, Fairy Wind down, and take this match. I'm going to no-shield this for science, see how much damage a Rock Slide is going to do, but they go for a Bone Club bait instead, so I guess we won't even find out, but we can Fairy Wind down that Marowak and take the game there. Alright, BIBAREL, in this next matchup, another Annihilape. This is terrible. We're going to come in with our Shadow Primeape, get both shields down. That seems to be how they normally play out this matchup. They can actually survive this first Rage Fist, but I think a lot of Annihilape users like to keep it as healthy as possible, which makes sense, right? Especially when you see that BIBAREL lead. You probably want to keep your monkey around for it if you possibly can. I'm going to shield up that Rage Fist, go for the next Rage Fist of my own. We were at +1, so at this point, they probably would have to shield us to get one shot, so I am totally expecting my Primeape just to go down here, but get both shields in the process. We can come in Jumpluff like we did last time, hopefully coming in and neutralizing it better than we did with the previous match that we had with the Annihilape lead, where they ended up catching an Aerial Ace. Hopefully I can land it against this Annihilape this time, but we are the non-Shadow Jumpluff. This is going to mean that we're going to do a lot less damage with these Fairy Winds and with our charge moves as well. We don't have Acrobatics, we're running Aerial Ace just to have a little bit more spammability, but that does mean they can survive this move just barely. They're going to stay in here for a second. Oh, they actually end up swapping out to a Diggersby, which is going to be super uncomfortable because that Annihilape has a lot of energy left over on it. I don't know, though, if we can get the fast move down against them before they can get to a close combat with our BIBAREL. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see this game to see what is going to happen. Fire Punch comes through, gets us pretty low. I'm just going to stay in Jumpluff because I know at this point this is probably our best matchup aside from that Annihilape, and they're not going to let us stay in Annihilape against Jumpluff. They're going to try to use this Diggersby as a way just make us swap out potentially, which I didn't fall for. I'm just going to sack our Jumpluff at this point and hope that our BIBAREL is going to be strong enough in the back. We are going to go for the rollout down here, and I am kind of worried about what could be in the backline. It is going to be a Pokemon that we have a lot of play into, but the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, if they land a Drill Run, put me into range where I could just get countered down, I think, by that Annihilape, and if I no-shield the move, then we're just going to get fast move down. If I shield the move, there's a chance they get to a close combat on that Annihilape. I just have to hope right now that they're not going to be able to. They come in Annihilape, and they get the move here at the last second. That is incredibly bad for us right now. As long as this is a Rage Fist, we survive, but it's a close combat. We get one shot. I guess I probably should have no-shielded that Drill Run there, and just played the game that hopefully they couldn't counter me down, but I guess mistakes were made, and we'll learn for the next time. Right, Shadow Marowak against BIBAREL. This is a lead matchup that is actually so much better than most of the rollout users in the game. BIBAREL does have access to Surf, you win CMP, and we basically one-shot them with a super effective damage. These Mud Slaps are adding up quite a bit, though. We know that this is a very offensive Pokemon that we're fighting. I don't want to take a Bone Club. They could probably Mud Slap me down pretty easily after the fact if they ended up going and landing that move. I'm going to throw this on CMP, but they make a nice catch here on a normal type. What was that? It was a Dunsparce, it looks like, which we do have an answer to. We have our Shadow Monkey that we can come in. I could go for the Ice Punch. I'm not sure if it would knock out quite yet, though, so I'm not going to throw it. I'm going to no-shield this, knowing that I can probably get a shield back against whatever comes in to farm me down. I'm going to be able to get to another move. I can't quite get the full farm down here, unfortunately, but I wouldn't get to 2 charge moves against that Marowak anyway, so I'm just going to throw the first Ice Punch, try to draw a shield, and then see what they come in with here. In comes the Marowak, and the thing is, like, even though they caught the move, I have my Jump Fluff that's going to be pretty good at walling this thing's energy, especially after getting that shield there, and I also have my BIBAREL in the back lane just in case I need it for something else, and our opponent actually instantly swaps to one of the more problematic Pokemon for this team. Clodsire is a little bit tricky. Obviously, they do have access to poison type damage with either Sludge Bomb, or at the very least, Poison Sting is going to add up quite a bit here. They could also have Stone Edge. I'm kind of hoping it's Stone Edge because they would need 2 moves to knock me out one way or another. Sludge Bomb just makes it a little bit easier for them to get to that second attack. They do have Sludge Bomb here. I'm going to come in BIBAREL, and I need to, at this point, go for the Surf, put them into range where I can knock them out with our Jump Fluff, and see if we can win the game with our Jump Fluff's energy lead in the backline. We get to this Surf here, but I know this Clodsire is very close to getting to another charge move. It could be a Sludge Bomb that's going to knock us out here. We barely don't knock them out. If we could have got that knockout, we'd be in such a good spot, but they take us out here. I'm going to have to hope that I can throw this Energy Ball and have it come into this Marowak right when they come in. I see the Marowak, I get the Energy Ball off, and now we snipe down all of their energy. This Clodsire is extremely low. We could Fairy Wind it down or Aerial Ace them, and we can take the game there. GG's to our opponent. Alright, the next match against a Malamar in the lead. Very awkward lead, honestly. This Pokemon is able to throw Superpower against us. They do outpace us. If they throw a move before we even have the chance to throw a move, I know it's a guaranteed Superpower. I have to shield this up or else I get one shot. We do end up shielding the move, and they swap out to a Pokemon that I wouldn't really consider an answer to BIBAREL, especially down energy, a Shadow Feraligatr. I can go for these Hyper Fangs. They do a lot of damage, and the thing is, I don't really care about having my BIBAREL against that Malamar, right? I have my Jump Fluff that's going to be much better into it, and I know these Hyper Fangs are going to chip down this Feraligatr quite a bit. We do end up landing that move there. It does a lot of damage, and now I know I won't be able to roll out down before their next move, but I can Karate Chop down. I'm going to swap in here, get 2 Karate Chops, take them out right when they reach the Hydro Cannon, and now what is going to come in? Malamar probably doesn't want to come back in and take a lot of damage, but maybe they do come back in with it here. We'll have to see what they do choose to do. This is going to be the one matchup where Ice Punch really comes in handy. I was saying we were weak to Clodsire. We're not as weak to Clodsire because we have Ice Punch. It is going to be able to be a Sludge Bomb here from the looks of it. They threw that move very quickly, but I have boosted my attack one stage, and I don't expect my opponent to shield. They're probably expecting another Rage Fist right now, but I have a boosted Ice Punch coming through. This should do massive damage. Almost knocks them out from that health range. That is crazy. With the Ice Punch buff, that is honestly what you love to see. We catch a Sludge Bomb. We still have our Primeape live and ready. We also have our Jump Fluff ready to go against that Malamar. We could come in with either Pokemon here, but I think Jump Fluff is going to be the play, because that way I can swap out if I need to my Primeape at some point, go for the Rage Fist that we have loaded, and I can just chip down this Malamar, go for these Fairy Winds and these Aerial Aces to put them into a range where they're not going to be able to take us out. We have another Aerial Ace loaded. This is going to draw the shield. We have energy on Primeape. If I can swap here, I can make the combo play, but if I can't swap, I don't want to swap in and like catch a move and just lose the game that way, so we're just going to wait for them to throw a charge attack here. We might even get to another Aerial Ace, and even if they make a catch at some point this game, I'm still in a great position. I can get 2 charge moves. I have the Aerial Ace loaded now. I have the move on my Primeape as well, so even with a catch, there is nothing our opponent can do. We have the Ace loaded. They do make the catch, so good play by them, but this is still going to knock out their Clodsire. We have that Rage Fist loaded on Primeape. We can now swap out now that this Malamar has been energy dry, take it out, and Primeape able to take out the Psychic-type Pokemon. Primeape putting in so much work here this game, showing that Ice Punch might actually be a pretty decent move, especially on the Shadow Primeape, doing so much damage to that Clodsire. Alright, fantastic lead for this next game. Obviously, we resist the Incinerate damage, and we also have a lot of damage with our charge moves. They are staying in for quite a long time, honestly, with that Talonflame, but then they save swap their Serperior. We have the Jump Fluff to answer this. But Jumpluff is actually a little bit more awkward here than you might expect. We do resist the fast moves, but these air releases from them are doing quite a bit of damage to us. We're almost in 3-shot range, and I don't know if I can quite 2-shot them with air release. It's going to be kind of close. Fairy Wind isn't doing too much damage here, but we are going to try our best to knock this out with our Jumpluff. They're throwing another charge move. They will be able to outpace us to the third move, so if our next air release does not knock them out, then we're actually going to have to go down shields potentially to win this matchup. I don't want to do that, though. I think that would be the way that I lose this game. They actually do end up shielding that, and then swapping back into Talonflame, which is amazing for us. It gives us so much more of an opening to come in, overfarm with our Bibarel, go for these rollouts, go for the surf damage, and make sure I can get as much energy out of this matchup as possible. I know they're not at a move yet. I'm going to fully undercharge this surf so I can get some extra rollouts, so I can come out of this matchup with as much energy as possible. We take out the Talonflame right when they're getting their next move, and now the Serperior might come back in, but we have a Hyper Fang loaded. This move is very powerful. It is the same stats as Dark Pulse, so a very solid attack all around, and we end up taking them out here. Their backline Pokemon being another Pokemon weak to Rock-type damage. GG's to them. Alright, Primeape in the lead, up against our BIBAREL, probably one of the worst leads we could see, but we're going to come in with our Jumpluff, hope for the best that they're not going to hard counter us, and in the backline is going to be a hard counter for our Jumpluff, the Clodsire. The way that we're going to be able to win this game is potentially getting a bit of an energy lead on our own Primeape, and using our BIBAREL against whatever the final Pokemon is. I'm just hoping their final Pokemon is not a hard answer to Primeape, and that they're going to have to use their own Primeape to take out mine later on, but this is going to be very awkward depending on how they play this out. We have another Energy Ball loaded now. We get the CMP, which is fantastic news for us. They're going to waste all of their energy against our Jumpluff. They're going to be basically dry. We can overfarm with our own BIBAREL after they threw this move. This Sludge Bomb is going to easily knock us out unless they go for a very smart undercharge, which they actually do. That is a perfect undercharge from our opponent here. I don't think I'm going to quite reach that Energy Ball. We're going to go for the Air Release, but if I survived that one Poison Sting, I could have reached the Energy Ball, which it looks like we actually do survive. I should have just went for it, and now we're in such a bad position. I'm going to absorb the energy on BIBAREL here, come in Shadow Primeape, and hope that we are not hard countered in the backline. Earthquake comes through, does over half of our BIBAREL's health. We swap into Primeape. It's a Charmer. Yeah, okay, that was a bit of a hard one to win there. Alright, next game, BIBAREL up against its best matchup in the game, the Shadow Feraligatr. A lot of damage against this with Rollout and with Hyper Fang, and we also can see that they safe swap Shadow Drapion instantly here. Bit of an awkward safe swap. We could come back into our Shadow Primeape, but they're up energy against us. I think I need to get a shield first, and honestly, that Gator is not that scary against anything in my team. I have Energy Ball on Jumpluff. I resist everything it throws with our BIBAREL as well, and our Primeape just kind of outpaces it and outdamages it with Karate Chop and Rage Fist. So now that we got that move off, we can come in with our Primeape, farm them all the way down, and use our energy lead against that Feraligatr if it comes back in. What is our opponent going to do? Do they bring in their final Pokemon? No, they actually come in with their Feraligatr, which means we can go for this first Rage Fist. We're going to outpace them to their first charge move, get to that second Rage Fist, and likely draw a shield against them, and see what they have in the back. They might shield this up, knowing that this is going to do a lot of damage. It would knock them out at this point. Do they want to save their charge move? They do. They want to trade a shield for a shield, so I'm going to go down both shields right now, but I think that's a good trade. I can Karate Chop down this Pokemon if they happen to stay in here, which they are. We get a full fast move down, or we would in the backline. A Diggersby, a Pokemon that does not want to take double boosted Karate Chops. I have Ice Punch, so I don't even have to lower my defense stat, and that is also going to mean they're going to have to throw a charge move if they want to knock me out before an Ice Punch is reached. They do throw the charge move, but luckily Jumpluff is going to be in a great position to close out this game. We have BIBAREL that is a little bit close to a surf as well. I think they're like 1 or 2 rollouts away, and we have an Energy Ball loaded just in a second on our Jumpluff. I know that Fire Punch got buffed, but we're a non-Shadow Jumpluff. We survive that very easily, and we can go for the Energy Ball here, get a lot of this Diggersby's health gone, and probably put them into an Air Release, or maybe even Farm Down range, depending on how healthy this is. Looks like I do have to throw a charge move here. We're going to throw it instantly. Even if they got a catch there, we have our BIBAREL. We could probably get to another Air Release against them with our Jumpluff as well, and in comes the Shadow Feraligatr. We're going to just go for the full Fairy Wind down, or if we can, just go for the Air Release, guarantee the win. GG's to our opponent. They were a little bit weak to Grass-type Pokemon that game, but our Jumpluff obviously not the best Grass-type out there to be able to core break the Diggersby and Feraligatr. Alright, Talonflame in the lead once again. A good lead, but we see a very awkward Pokemon in the back lane, a Toxapex safe swap. The other day, I was seeing a lot of people have the Toxapex safe swap, and I had Gastrodon on my team. That was so much fun, hard countering them there. Unfortunately, though, this time they are kind of, I guess, lucky that we're not running a Pokemon that even comes close to countering it. We go for the Hyper Fang, then we come in with our Fighting type into the Poison type Pokemon. Hyper Fang did chip him down quite a bit, and we reached these moves so quickly that honestly, even though we are going to be in a bad matchup, at least we'll be able to ramp up our attack stat, make it so that this Toxapex is going to have to consider shielding Ghost type moves from our Fighting type Pokemon. Even if they end up no-shielding this, then at least we keep switch advantage, and that is what they're going to do. They take their shield advantage, come in Talonflame. I guess they're going to try to go for a farm down here. Luckily, though, we do reach this Rage Fist, it's going to do a lot of damage. If they end up letting it go, it probably almost knocks them out. So they are forced to shield, but they get a third Incinerate, which is going to be very scary. They have a lot of energy on this Talonflame. I kind of have to shield up just in case this is a Brave Bird, right? It is a fly bait, which is even worse. In the backline, going to be a Serperior. This is going to be a very tricky game to come out of. Jumpluff, as I was talking about earlier in this video, it's a good answer to Serperior, but it's not the hardest counter out there. This thing has a lot of playthrough and super effective Aerial Aces against us, and even though we have Aerial Ace, it's not the strongest move. It might not two-shot a good Serperior. We'll just have to see what we can do. I also have to keep in mind, if I give that Talonflame a farm down against us, we're just instantly going to lose this game. We can't let that Talonflame get a huge energy lead against our BIBAREL. What I'd rather have is I'd rather barely lose this matchup, make it so we could roll out down this Serperior and be in a good spot, but our opponent makes a bit of a mistake in my opinion. They ended up using their shield already, which I think is going to win me the game. I can come in BIBAREL if I ever see that Talonflame come in. If we survive this move, I'm going to expect them to swap out. Watch for it. We come in BIBAREL, we can go for the Surf, get the guaranteed knockout against this Pokemon, and hopefully take the win this game using our BIBAREL against that Serperior. Is it going to be enough to get to the charge move before we get knocked out? Even if they're forced to throw energy, we have that Aerial Ace on our Jumpluff. They get the CMP at the last second. Our BIBAREL ends up winning it, and we can knock out this Grass type with our little Beaver. GG's to our opponent. Very tricky endgame there, all things considered. Alright, BIBAREL up against a Clodsire. This is a very neutral matchup. They have a lot of just raw, I guess, bulk here, which helps them out in this matchup. We have very efficient charge and fast moves, but they do resist our rollout damage, and we are kind of squishy, which makes it so this matchup isn't as one-sided as you might think. That must be a very bad Clodsire, because you're not supposed to do more than 50% of their health with the Surf. I basically did like probably 55-60% with that one charge move. You do like, I think 45% is the rank 1 into rank 1, so very, very bad Clodsire here, but that's good to see. It means that we've chipped this thing down into a range where our backline is nowhere near as concerned about this. They ended up shielding that second Surf, and because of how much damage that first move did, I'm kind of fine just letting our BIBAREL go, come in our Primeape, and hoping for the best that they don't have another hard answer to us in the backline. I don't think a Rage Fist is going to be quite enough to knock them out, so I'm going to go for the Ice Punch here. They're probably not going to shield, knowing that they wouldn't get knocked out if I were running the common moveset. They do end up letting that move through, and what are they going to come in with now? If it is going to be a hard counter to us, which it is, it's a Toxapex once again in the backline, I just have to start spamming out these Rage Fists and hoping I can potentially have play in the backline as long as they don't have another hard counter to us. But if they do, if it's just like triple poison or something, we're in a lot of trouble right now. They're throwing a charge move. I have to hope that I can shield this up and get to 2 more Rage Fists. I need to start whittling down this Toxapex to make it so our Jumpluff is going to have a lot more play. Rage Fist comes through. We're going to be at +2 attack. We're doing quite a bit of damage here, but do we reach the next move? We just barely do at the last second. Primeape does reach the Rage Fist. It's going to knock them out if they let this through, and it's going to just be the one shield matchup with our Jumpluff into whatever their final Pokemon is. We get a little bit of a break here. It is a Primeape rather than another hard counter to our Jumpluff, which is a breath of fresh air. We can no-shield this. If it's an Ice Punch, we survive. If it's a Rage Fist, I don't want to like shield that, and they actually do have Ice Punch and one-shot us later on, so no-shielding that move should be able to win us this game. Aerial Ace is going to come through. Primeape is very squishy. It would basically knock them out at this point. We can get to this next one in just a second here. This should KO this Primeape and take us the win this game. Jumpluff was looking a little bit sketchy here in the backline for us. Luckily, though, it did find its target in the end. This next game, we have the BIBAREL into Talonflame once again. That seems to be the most common lead tonight, which is good for a Water-type Pokemon using Rock-type damage. We end up seeing them stay in, but then they do swap out to a bit of an awkward matchup here. The Thunderfang Steelix. It's not a Shadow Steelix, though, so that means they have a little bit less raw damage, but they also take these moves a little bit easier. We're going to trip them down with our BIBAREL to guarantee switch advantage. We have to shield up a Psychic Fangs. We want to make sure that we can keep switch, keep our Jumpluff away from that Talonflame. I think I kind of have to throw a move if I want to knock them out, though, before they reach a second charge attack, and I'm going to undercharge this, go for a Karate Chop down, and hopefully get some charge moves off against that Talonflame. We are at -1 defense, but if I can survive 2 Incinerates, I can actually reach a second Rage Fist against this Talonflame. The first one's going to come through here. It's going to do a lot of damage. If they don't end up throwing energy, I think there's a chance I get another charge move off. Our opponent is forced to throw a charge move here. We survive with 1 HP, meaning that this Talonflame is going to be completely energy dry now. We get knocked out, but now we are going to be able to outpace them to a Surf with our BIBAREL, and we see a Morpeko in the backline. This is not the worst case scenario, but I have to be very careful here. If I knocked out this Morpeko, then I'd be in a bit of a bad spot because I don't want to give that Talonflame a farm down. Once again, the way I know I lose this game is if I give them a huge farm down with their Fire-type Pokemon, they go for these Flies or these Brave Birds against our BIBAREL because we don't resist Flying-type damage. I undercharge the Energy Ball to guarantee that we don't knock them out as soon as possible, and I also give myself a little bit more energy here. Aerial Ace is going to come through. If they shield this up, I can land the Surf. If they no-shield this, it's going to be in rollout downrange for our BIBAREL. They're at 2 Incinerates, but they need 2 more Incinerates if they want to be able to knock us out, which means that we need 4 rollouts to knock them out, but I don't even need 4. It looks like 3 is going to be enough. We can go and shield the first move, go for the rollout down, knock out this Talonflame, and take the game there. GG's to our opponents. Honestly, BIBAREL is such a cool Pokemon. Never thought this Pokemon would be a meta addition, but it is honestly, with rollout, Hyper Fang, and Surf, it's really strong. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream my battles basically every day live at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, please make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. Thanks again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.